We all, I think, know that after we present this, and if we get the money, or whether we get the money or not, this is just a concept. It can change at a later date, and that's what's frustrating you. But we need to get some type of concept in that application by January 3rd.
There's going to be a design stage where they still talked about, there's going to be a committee. People, starting after January or February, whatever, they still tell us that when MnDOT starts looking at the design stage of this, there will be a group of Pelican people that want to be a part of this, to be a part of the design and figuring out exactly what's going to happen. And MnDOT has said that all along. Now, are they going to hold them meetings here in Pelican? Not necessarily.
Well,
that group might have to go
the engineer said probably in Detroit Lakes.
Yes.
It just worries me that in every discussion we've had, we've talked about we're going to make these decisions. We're going to have a committee and it's going to come forward and we're going to decide what Pelican Rapids is going to look like. And in the next sentence, we're talking, this is where the bike path is going to go, this is how this is going to work, this is what this is going to look like. And it seems like those decisions have already been made. And my fear is that we're going to get to the point down the road and we're going to be, well, those decisions, we've already talked about that. That's already been decided. I don't know why you're bringing it up now for it. And like I said, I haven't talked to a single person, not a one, that has said, we need a bike path downtown.
We are looking at a bike path.
Okay, tomato, you can call it, call it a roller rink if you want.
We're going to have what we have now.
We don't have a boulevard downtown right now.
But by submitting this, it is like, if people are telling the truth, this is a requirement to apply for this grant, is to have this concept.
You have to have some type of concept.
So if I was given, if I was the guy in St. Paul that was receiving a grant application, so this is the concept, I'm going to give you $500,000. And then all of a sudden, I go to Pelican Rapids, and their concept isn't what I would give them $500,000 for. It's totally different. Something...
It's my understanding that, once we submit this concept and they say, yeah, we like your overall concept. Let's say if we come back between now and 2020 and say that, okay, we want a 12-foot wide sidewalk, a 2-foot wide boulevard, and a 5-foot wide amenity zone. It's my understanding that you can massage that stuff, Kevin, as long as you have some type of facilities in these areas that accommodate bicyclists, pedestrians, and things like that. And maybe Patrick, maybe you can add to this conversation. I know your frustration, but we've been told that with the short timeline we've got to present some type of concept with our application.
Or there's no money available.
Yeah, let me add though too. Everything that we're talking about was based off of those community meetings, the dot game and all that stuff to come up with that complete streets. The complete streets concept that were laid out there is what the community of Pelican Rapids said they wanted. And by their voting and the people at that committee. So what we're doing now is we're saying, in a sense, we'd like to save some money. Instead of going with what the community said they kind of like to have, which is the walking path, a buffer, and then a bike path, we'd like to save some expense there and just do away with the buffer and call it, and the width basically, and just call it a shared use path, just like we have downtown now. To me, it's a shared use path. But for this grant, we have to do something with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we don't get this in, we're not going to have money in 2024 to help us do it. And then whatever we come up with, it's going to be 100% on the city.
The only other option to that is if the city does not feel comfortable moving ahead at this time, it's been indicated that, let's say we don't submit for a grant application this year. We could wait till next year if we feel we're not ready. And then if this project takes place in 2024, you would probably have to pay for everything up front, and then there would be the possibility of, if we wait till next year to apply for the grant, you wouldn't get that money till 2025. So you would have to wait a year before you got that money. Do we want to go there? I would say I don't think we do.
Lou, I want you to write it down, and I don't care if you put it in the press or not, but I want you to take a note that I'm saying, at some point, it's gonna come to the council, okay, we're ready to go. Oh, you guys already talked about this, remember? It's already been passed. Let's go. And we're gonna be sitting here trying to figure out which blanket got pulled over our eyes.
Councilman Strand, do you have something?
Bob, will you explain amenities to me again? You have before, but...
Yeah, the amenity zone would be an area that businesses could put signs, tables, the city could put benches or planters. It's an area that isn't a designated pedestrian access route.
And how would that differ from what we have right now?
Basically, right now, there's not a designated zone for that. I mean, your businesses are able to do that. I mean, they can put stuff alongside of their businesses and stuff like that, but let's say if you had a 10-foot wide sidewalk down there, MnDOT doesn't allow items to be put inside the designated pedestrian access route. So you have to designate an amenity zone where they can put tables, benches, chairs, planters, stuff like that.
So would it be marked, or what, how do you...
It'd be just like it is now.
Different color concrete.
It's just a different name for it.
That'd be-
We have the same exact thing right now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, MnDOT does not, we don't have what they refer to as amenity zone, a designated amenity zone right now. And what MnDOT is telling us is, even though the stores are doing that, they're not supposed to be doing that. And when, at the end of this project, we will have that zone.
To make it simple, we already have it. We already have it. Even though it's not legal, we already have it. Now we're just putting a name to it, and it'll be legal.
Be on paperwork.
And like I think Kevin mentioned, a lot of times it's a different colored concrete. So it marks where the actual pedestrian access route is, it marks the different colored concrete, or maybe some pavers, where the amenity zone is, the boulevard may be something different.
And Bob, downtown, tell me again, how does that compare the width you're proposing, or what we're applying for versus what we have right now?
Right now, I don't recall exactly what those widths are. I'd have to go back and look at the complete streets report, but basically, that street is going to be narrowed up. Right now, I don't recall exactly what the width is from back of curb to back of curb, but it will be 2 12-foot driving lanes plus 2 10-foot parking lanes.
So the sidewalk would be more
Sidewalks will
narrow?
be wider,
Wider?
because the
Yeah,
road's going to narrow up.
The curb's gonna move out each side 6 feet.
When he says out, he means away from the building.
Right.
So, but there's a boulevard.
Right
There
now.
will be?
There will be.
Do you have to have boulevard? I don't get that part. What's that? I mean,
That would be a place to put your street lights, stuff like that. That's another area that's outside of the actual pedestrian access route that you could put stuff.
but right now it's on a sidewalk, right? The lights.
Correct.
And does that have to be a certain width, the boulevard,
It doesn't have to be a certain width.
for like a street line?
It's
or-
nice to have it a certain width, because if you do have pedestrians or bicyclists on what's considered to be a shared use path, MnDOT recommends that you have a minimum of 3 feet from the curb to that shared use path for safety
So-
purposes.
You're talking about the boulevard width then?
Correct.
3. Okay, thank you.
I'll show you. This one here shows it. So you have your buffer, your sidewalk, and your amenity. So that's what it's showing, and then you still have the parking driving. You can pass, that's Patrick, but you can pass it around if you want to.
Would you go ahead and just finish your presentation here, and then we can talk about it?
So again, when we rank these areas, area number 1 was this area in red, or considered to be the downtown area, to include in the TA grant application. Area number 2, or ranking of number 2 was area number 8. Now, area number 8 is this area in brown, which goes north on 59 up to the turkey plant. Because we wanted to really make sure that we accommodated the traffic to and from that turkey plant area and connect that area with the remainder of the city of Pelican Rapids. And what we proposed there would be a 10-foot wide shared use path on the west side, as well as a 10-foot wide shared use path on the east side.
Now, one of the things that you guys, decision that you guys can talk about tonight when he's done too is, do we need to put sidewalk shared use path up both sides of the highway all the way through past the turkey plant? If we think it only needs to be done on the west side, then that's the call you guys can make tonight also, but go ahead.
Bob, would that affect the width of the lanes up there?
That's everything's gonna, through Pelican Rapids, everything's gonna be narrowed up. So right now, it's extremely wide from curb to curb.
Yep.
Everything's gonna be narrowed up to 2 12-foot wide driving lanes and 2 10-foot wide parking lanes. So in all these areas that you see, the curb and gutter is going to be narrowed up and become closer together.
A lot of semi-traffic going in and out of the plant,
There is.
and they take a ton of space.
Yep. And I know in the discussions with MnDOT, and getting back to Kevin, his hair on the back of his neck is probably going to raise again. You know, talking with MnDOT, if it was up to them, they would probably prefer to have 11-foot wide driving lanes and 8 or 9-foot wide parking lanes. But because we consider all the heavy truck traffic, it's an agricultural area, we're going to hopefully convince them to go with the 12-foot wide driving lanes and the 10-foot wide parking lanes. Ultimately, that's MnDOT's call. It's their corridor, it's their right of way. But that is our goal. That was presented in the complete streets report. So,
I
that's
went to
the,
one of the meetings that this was discussed, and I asked them specifically about this with the truck traffic. And they said they have to, because we talked about the different lanes, like Steve Strand's idea of having a left turning lane and this kind of thing, and he talked about they have to determine the radius of some of these trucks that turn. And I wish you'd had broken down area 7 into area 7A, 7B, and 7C, because that one block area in the downtown area, when they narrow that, it's going to just be so difficult with some of the truck traffic that goes through there.
And they're still going to be looking at that, and for the sake of what we're trying to accomplish here, this works for the grant application. The design stage, when they start looking at them turning radiuses and all that stuff, all this could change to some extent. We just have to get it into the application, get something into the application.
yeah, the only thing that we're focused, and I agree with you, Steve, that's a concern. The only thing that we're focused on tonight is the complete streets aspect of it. So the area that we ranked third in priority is area number 1 shown on this map, which is the purple out here. Getting pedestrian traffic out to these apartments, this future apartment, and this development out here. That was the area that we ranked number 3.
Is that done with counts, people walking?
They have not done anything out here yet, Steve. I think at the meeting that you were at, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was this last one, they did not take any pedestrian counts out here. They did not put their cameras, and we asked them next spring to put their cameras out here. But for right now, they indicated they are not going to cost share in any new facilities out here because they don't have any information on pedestrian counts. But again, we asked them to look into it next spring. So we're moving ahead assuming that they're not going to fund anything out here. So what we did is we ranked this priority number 3. And what was proposed there is to put a 10-foot wide shared use path on the south side here. And then ultimately a crosswalk would go in here for that new apartment building.
Was it ranked number 3 because of the possibility so far that they're not going to cost share with it?
Correct. If they come back and say, we're going to cost share in this, obviously we're going to have to transition that money to one